Hello guys, I'm Super Ron, welcome back to the channel and we're back at Auto Shack on the Caddy show car. In the last episode we got very excited because we heard this Audi TT 1.8 litre turbocharged engine burst into life for the first time and it sounded sweet. Fingers crossed. So that was the initial startup, but we couldn't run it for long because we haven't got any coolant system on it yet. So that's what I'm going to finish off today. I've got the rest of the wiring to finish for the headlights, the radiator fan, the horn. Our header tank has just arrived, so we can pipe that in, and then we can start filling it up with coolant. And once all the wiring is finished for the fans, we can run it right up to temperature and make sure everything is okay and flowing. So I'm still waiting for a couple of silicone hoses, so I'm going to start on the wiring. You just saw we had it poking out of the A-pillar so far. It's going to run along here and pop into the back of the headlights, nice and invisible. Then when the wing's on, you're not going to see it at all. So let's start off with the wiring. Right, so in the last episode we did get the engine all wired up and working. Everything's connected there and it's running, but we've still got our Caddy left to wire up. So we've got headlights, indicators, we've got horns, we've got the radiator fan and the fan switch, and all this side is going to come along here out of this hole, grommeted, come along these pins and then disappear where it needs to go. The indicators are going to pop out this little grommet here and come to the indicators in the bumper. And so we're not crossing along the front panel, this side is going to come out here. See the looms just that long. That's the original headlight loom. It's going to come along the pins. It's going to go down to the indicators there. And this little hole up here is for the headlights. That's going to dive in to the top there, so you're not going to see any loom. Right, so here is the rest of the original wiring that I chopped off. These are the old headlight plugs. So that's for main beam, dip beam, and this little one is for the side light. So that's what I chopped off the loom to get it running through. Here is the other side. But as you can see, it's had scotch locks and things put in to go to the twin headlights, so the loom isn't in that great condition. So instead of joining onto here and extending it, we've got some new plugs and new terminals so we can make a fresh job out of it. So we've got main beam, dip beam, side lights, also got the indicators, and for side repeaters, because early cars didn't have side repeaters, so the car wasn't designed to have side repeaters. All they do is they've got this little T-loom where you plug that into the loom, that into the indicator, then that runs to the side repeaters in the wings. So we have to remember to put these in when we're making our loom. And the last bit we've got is the radiator fan. Nice, simple, easy circuit. You just got power and earth going in. You've got the radiator switch on the side of the radiator. When that closes, that completes the circuit and powers up the fan. So we've got a fan switch ready to go in. So we can start making up these fresh. So I've just stripped the wires down. We've got our two big ones for our radiator fan. We've got our headlight, and then we've got our side light, indicators and horn. And when we were welding on the plugs and all the studs, we did put a nice big earth point here. So this is where I'm going to earth the headlights, the indicators and the horns. They're going to have their own earth point on the end. And we've got ready on the other side, has got one as well. So we've got our dip beam, main beam, side light and indicator on this side, so they can be extended and disappear into their little holes. For the Mark 1 they do two fan switches, one with 3 terminals in and one with 2 terminals in. And on the 3 terminal, that's a 2-stage fan switch. They come on at different temperatures, so you can have a resistor in there and that runs the fan slowly at 1, and then if it creeps up to top temperature that will put it on full speed, or you just get the standard on off. If you look in our wiring, we've just got the 2 wires going in and the other one's empty, so we're just gonna have the simple on-off fan switch. So let's start on the headlight loom. We've got our 3 terminals on, we've got our plug ready, and they're a bit hard to crimp because you can't get the crimps over because they're 90-degree terminals, so I just put a little dab of solder on the ends as well. So as we're changing wire colours, we've listed it all down as always. So now I can get these in the plugs and then work out our lengths on the car. And for the side lights, we're going to use the original factory connector, but put new terminals in it. They're the same as relays, So that will replace those horrible grotty green ones. And here they are, all braided up. So we've got side lights, main beam, dip beam. Let's try them in the car. And this is how they'll sit. So you'll barely be able to see them from the top. Let's get the rest of our wires together too. So that's the fan switch in. Got our little 2-pinner. And then I've made the new loom. I didn't put the factory plug on it because I didn't like how far it stuck out into the bay. So we've got these nice 90-degree terminals, and then we've got our fan plug, and this can run through to the loom. So let's get this on. And then we'll connect that up to the main loom. So we always use crimps when joining onto the VW wires because they've got like a waxy coating so they don't solder. So we crimp and then heat shrink. So they're all together, like the headlights have all been done there. And I've got all the horn wired in. There's the horn plug. That's all connected to the main loom as well. We can still use the old plugs for the indicators. We're just going to get the grotty old terminals out. So we've got the terminal tool fork goes in, grotty old terminal out, and again, the little arms go in there, in, and the terminal comes out. Then we've got all brand new ones to go in. These little fellas, so we'll connect them up to the main loom. Like so. New terminals are on with their waterproof rubbers, so now the old plug will clip straight on. Just like that. And last but not least, the side repeaters. As you can see, VW just tee them into the main line, so I'll do the same. And here we are, all finished. Check that out. Sneaks around like a little snail shell, spins up, and then comes out the grommet at the top with the bonnet cable there, and joins into the main loom. So I've taped it together. I haven't fully taped it up yet. I just want to check it all works. But we've got our P-clips on. We're all in and ready. All our joins are done. And it's almost invisible from the outside. Right, that's this side all on. Side repeater on. Loom going through. Coming up. Tucking through the little hole. Then we've got it nice and neat down into the headlight there. We've got our indicators coming out the bottom, and I've just slid on the bumper so we can plug in our indicators each side, and then they'll tuck up into the chassis leg there. So I think we are all connected now. Headlights are all in, bulbs are all in, horns are all on. We've got our earth points all bolted up at the front. Horn. And everything disappears into inside the car. Got all our bulbs in. So I've connected up the jump pack again to our junction point. So let's connect up the earth and we should get our interior light back on. Check. Because of course the door is open. So let's put some power on and see what works. We have side lights. I think it's got LEDs in the side lights. Side lights, check. Main beam, I can see them on the door. Dip beam, main beam, dip beam, main beam. Should have flash. Yep. Indicator. Yep. And our side repeater as well. And at the back. And now the other side is the one on the circuit board that was all burnt out. So I've replaced all the wiring. I've replaced the plug that goes on the back of the fuse box. The pin was a bit crusty, so I've cleaned that up, gave it some electrical cleaner. So let's see if this side indicator works. No. Let's try hazards. No. We've got power because we've got our indicator. Fixed. Full house. Winner, winner. Chicken dinner. So this is just on the side lights. So these LEDs are super bright, just on side lights alone. We've got full house. Oh, let's check the horn. Horn of plenty. I just went to turn everything off and I noticed we've got a light on. But then I realised that's the parking lights. The parking lights are working as well. So you leave the indicator on and that side light stays on. So we are fully OE equipped. So if we put a bit of towel on there to make sure it's blowing the right way. If we just bridge the 2 wires in the fan switch, that should start up. There we go. Perfect. Next up is wipers. So the wiper motor sits over this side. Usually the loom comes out with the headlights and then goes back into the scuttle and along. But we've got this little hole that comes out the back of the scuttle panel there. It's actually a factory hole that just had a blank grommet in. So now the wiring comes up here through the little box section. And if we can see in there, through that little grommet and into the engine bay. So now that comes across to the motor. Here's the other end of the plug that was chopped off to get it through the hole. Now we could join it back together, but what I've actually found is we have got the correct terminals that go into the plug. So we can terminate these wires, put the plug back on and be factory fresh, no joins. That will sit in there. So let's get the terminals on. I swapped them over there, one by one, colour by colour, so we're all back together and we can plug this into the wipers. Just like that. So let's give these a test. We've got wipers. So with the wiring all finished, let's get this coolant system finished off. So under here, remember the turbo water outlet used to come round to the driver's side, but we chopped it off and put an AN fit in so we could run it round to the passenger side where our header tank is. So now we have got our AN6 line in. For these, we didn't go for the PTFE lines like the fuel lines, we went for a rubber hose. So we've got our AN fit in on this end, and this end will be jubileed onto a barb. So this is our coolant line, and it fits on like this. So this will run behind the turbo, but as you might notice, is very close to the exhaust. It comes along here, then it will go up to our header tank, but Torx have a solution for that as well, and that runs up through here. So that pops out under the servo, and I've used the original Audi TT Y piece that used to be by the header tank over the other side, but I've put it in here so it's all plumbed in the same, just on this side of the car. So I'll shorten that down and that'll jubilee onto that barb, and that connects into our header tank this side. And then all we've got then is just the little overflow that comes from the top of the rad, and that just bleeds out any air in the top of the system. And all together it looks like this. I've got all my clips on, all the pipes on, everything is connected up. I've got that overflow running along here, couple of P clips that doesn't snag on anything. Then we've got this nice little formed 90 that just comes out and looks nice and parallel in the bay. So that is the coolant system finished. I'm just waiting for a few more bits. So while I'm waiting for them, I think I'll look at this clutch line. The clutch line goes onto the slave cylinder down here. And we've got this nice little fit in. So this will just go together like the PTFE lines with a little collet. They come in 3 pieces, so you've got the inner, the outer, and then the collet in the middle, and they all go together just like so. Looks very nice, but it's a bit chromy for our bay, so what I do is put a little bit of the wiring braid on, and that makes it look like a really nice hell line. And then once run through, I just mark where I want it, put a bit of tape round so the braid doesn't flail out, and then just use the grinder. And then we've got a banjo for this end, so you just need to put the outer on first, squeeze that past the tape, and that protects it from flailing out, otherwise you'll never get this bit on. And take the tape off, collet on, minding those braidy pointy bits, banjo on, Then slide the outer back up and do it all up together. And that'll all crush and hold. And all connected. So it runs from the master cylinder we fitted in a previous video, across, out, and just see it through there, going through its grommet above the electrical loom. I'm not going to do the banjo up tight just yet, because we may be dropping the column, because a little something that a lot of viewers have noticed when we were putting it together was the boot around the universal joint for the steering. Ben with the purple Mark II that we featured in a previous episode also noticed and said he would donate one. So I'm going to drop the universal joint back off and fit this one. So that is going to look a lot better. So here's the universal joint, just got to drop that on the outside. Don't know whether we'll have to release the column or not, or whether we can wiggle it out. Well, I've just got our one off, and as you can see, it is in a really bad state. It's all cracked and perished. But the problem is, this one looks like it's for a Mark II Golf, not a Mark I. As you can see, the hole is a lot bigger, both ends, and it's a different shape. So that's not going to fit our bulkhead, unfortunately. So I do want to get this up and running properly. So let's finish off this boost pipe that we started for the bottom. We've now got the flange for the map sensor, so we can put that in. But we couldn't quite get it fitting right. So what we need to do is the standard Audi pipe at the bottom that is hitting the drive shaft. Because we're on air ride and it goes up so high, we need a little bit more clearance. So I'm going to chop this one out, take out that 25mm there, like so. So we've got that little snippet out. I've tacked it back together in the same place. So let's try this on the car. I've just manually deflated the airbags and then used a transmission jack to jack the hub all the way up. So it's like it's fully aired out. And as you can see now, we are all clear. Looks a little bit close there, but we've got a finger gap all the way around. And this is aired out, so it won't actually be moving at this height. I just didn't want it to touch it at all. And the boost pipe runs along here and up. There's our map sensor. There's our map sensor plug, so that will fit in there nice. And we are still higher than the lowest bit of the sump. We can bring it up a little bit when we adjust. I think that is going to work nicely. Let's just try the wheel on as well, just to make sure. But I'm pretty sure there's all the clearance we need. And our map sensor just arrived from TPS. So we've got that on. So now we are fully connected up. Let's try this wheel on. And wheel on, full lock, and it misses the inner wing nicely. So there's no fouling there. And it misses our boost pipe nicely as well. We are going to tuck it a little bit more further in towards the sump. But even like this, we are fully clear. But happy with that. And now I've just welded the pipe all the way around. So that looks nice. We'll get that back on. And this is the bit I've been waiting for. A new coolant temperature sender for the engine. There's the old one off. Looks a little bit grotty. It's just worth replacing it before we fill it up with coolant. Then we know we are 100%. So let's get this on. And you can just see it in there, the green sensor. So now we can finally add some coolant. Right, we're all fluided up. It's found its level now, it's not dropping anymore. So until the pump starts spinning, that's where it is. Got nothing on the floor. Just put a little fly lead in to our junction box, because it's a bit tricky getting the jump pack in there. But there's the jump pack fixed on. So I think we're ready to fire it up. The only problem I have got is we haven't got the sensor to go in there. So when it gets up to temperature, I'm a bit worried about it spewing over. So we've got our hose clamps. We're just going to clamp the hose when it does get up to temperature, so it doesn't chuck it out over the floor. I think we are ready for a start. Now it's circulating nicely. So the rad is full. Can't see any leaks. Let's keep an eye on it. And I've just plugged the OBD in. We're all reading fine there. We've got coolant temperature 65 69 degrees. Everything's happy. Air temperature 25 degrees. Battery voltage 14.1. Engine speed 760. So it is all happy. Purring away nicely. What I was finding when I was revving it is it's coming up the return line and splashing out the top and making a bit of a mess. So I've just put our pressure tester adapter on and that's just sitting in there. So we still can't totally close off the system, but hopefully we have to rev it up a bit, get it nice and warm before it pressurizes up. Everything is happy. Coolant found a nice level. We're up to temperature, but it's not pressurised yet. But you can see that is starting to smoke. The radiator's warm at the bottom, so the thermostat's open. The system is working. All our boost pipes are on. Working well. And we're all plugged in up on the screen to all our data. Got our live data rolling. Quite funny to think on a Mark 1 Caddy. I think we can call this a success. Very happy with that. It sounds pretty cool, straight pipe as well. Dash is all working. So I don't want this getting too hot and boiling over, but for our test I think that will be a pass. And got it all dressed back up. And really the only thing missing from this engine bay now is the air filter. So we're just going to have a little cone filter there, and that is all you're going to see. So from above, looking down, it's going to be nice and clean and tidy. Nothing on this side, nothing else going on this side. And we are all wired in and MOT ready, even with the horn on the side. So I think I am going to wrap this episode up here. We've got everything achieved that we set out to do. We've got all the electrics now on the whole car working. We've got lights, indicators, horn, wipers, everything we need for an MOT, everything we need to keep this road legal. And now we've had it all up and running, the whole coolant system is full of coolant and it has stayed in the engine, which is a great sign. We've got no fault codes, all the live data is reading from the ECU to the scanner. So I think engine-wise, we are just about done now. I've got the clutch line made up, so as soon as that's bled up, the gear cables are on, it could in fact be an actual driver. So apart from a few more finishing touches, we might finesse that lower boost pipe just a little bit to make it a bit nicer and then get it all painted up black. We can start turning our attention to the other things to finish off on the car. The brakes are all on and looking fantastic, but they don't actually work. So we've got all brake lines to make. We've got the rear bias valve to put in. We're going to put a Willwood in line 1 for the rear discs. But finally, it is all coming together. So if this is your first time finding the Caddy build, we have got a full playlist of all the episodes up to now, from where we stripped it down to a bare shell, done the full underside restoration, done the air ride, and we've progressively been getting the engine in and finished up until the point today where we've got a full runner. And with that straight through exhaust, that does sound pretty cool. We've also got the Caddy Crew merch, so you can show your friends that you are part of the Caddy Crew as well. Be sure to give this video a like and to subscribe to tune in to the next episode, where I think we'll probably be either finishing off the air ride or concentrating on finishing off the brake. So as always, thanks for watching, but until next time, make sure you have fun.